I tell you that my wife is running the summer camp at my daughter's school this year?
I think you mentioned it, but talk about that because I'd like to know more about it.
Well, what do you want to know? She's running the summer camp at my daughter's school.
Okay, that's enough.
I thought that was pretty straightforward.
Well, I mean, what does it consist of, and how long does it go, and is it just for bad students, or is it for good ones too?
Well, that is a great question. Well, so I remember back when I was younger.
I was saying that facetiously. I want you to know that, and I want your wife to know that.
But when I was a kid, and probably when you were a kid, summer school, or now they call it summer camp, I guess, was if you didn't do well that school year. So you had to go back and go over the summer.
I never went.
Neither did I. So I'm really just kind of feeding in on what other people told me and reporting back.
Okay, good.
Anyway, no, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It is purely optional, and it's for any student. It doesn't even have to be a student from the school itself. It can be any student from the area that wants to do summer camp. So they have
nice.
They have a camp, which is what my wife is co-running with a couple other people, nice. And they just have fun activities and is a fancy, I guess, daycare, if you will, in a sense, for the most part. But they have other mini camps that happen during the camp. So they have art camp.
They do like
camp.
breakouts.
Yeah, they
nice.
do. You pay for the extra camps. So, for example, my daughter is in an art camp. She's going to do, actually, she has 2 art camps this summer, and they'll go half a day and do an art camp. And then she has, and this is throughout the summer, and then she has a cheerleading camp, a STEM camp. Maybe we didn't sign her up for the STEM camp. I don't remember. But several different camps throughout the summer they're just kind of fun. Last year she did a horse camp, which is what got her interested in riding horses a little bit more.
That sounds like something they used to do out on the range.
Horse camp?
Horse camp.
Well, you're a horse camp. No.
Wow. No, I'm just picturing, old crusty cowboys. Where are you going? I'm off to horse camp.
Well, I told you my dad's an old crusty cowboy now, right? My real dad?
I don't know as you did.
Oh, well, so when he retired, and I'm taking this from what my mom told me, or how she told it to me, there's probably more to it, but when he retired, all he really wanted to do is become a cowboy. And so he moved out
Really?
He lives about 30 miles from the Montana border in North Dakota, and he has a few hundred acres out there, and he's got a horse farm. And
Is that right? A few hundred acres?
Yeah. I think it's 700.
Oh my gosh. Have you visited?
I have a couple of times. Out there, that's kind of considered a hobby farm. Most of the farmers out there have thousands of acres.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's really beautiful. It's a lot of fun. And for a while, until the gentleman retired, he was actually driving a stagecoach for tourists. He's very near Medora. If anyone's familiar with Medora, North Dakota, it's an old Western town or Western themed town, and it's right off of Teddy Roosevelt, one of Teddy Roosevelt's state parks. If you look on a map and actually look at Teddy Roosevelt Park, it's a horseshoe, and it touches Montana, and then it goes out into North Dakota, down, and then back in towards Montana. And then my dad's town, which is Sentinel Butte, North Dakota. And up until recently, I think it still had dirt roads everywhere. I think now it has one strip that's pavement, but the rest is dirt. Sentinel Butte, Beach, North Dakota, that general area is in that horseshoe, and that's where he lives. And it's actually part of the Badlands.
Huh.
Yeah.
And that is quite, it is a beautiful area.
It's gorgeous.
It's just all wonderful.
Yeah. He grew his hair out. He wears a big old cowboy hat.
Yeah,
he wears his, I don't think he does the ponytail. I think he just lets it hang. He wears his shit kickers, as he calls it, all the time. And yeah. And he helps some of the local farmers drive cattle in the spring and in the fall. He's just having a grand old time being a cowboy.
That is awesome. Very, very cool. But you said near Medora?
Yep, near Medora.
And I love how you instructed our fans to go, okay, so any of you who knows where Medora, nobody knows where the heck Medora is.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, cut it out. You said surprised. Medora. I said to myself, isn't that Samantha's mom on Bewitched?
Wow. I didn't even know that.
It was Endora. I made that up, yeah. And I can't think
that
of
was a
her
stretch,
name.
John.
What was that lady's name?
You must be recording at the end of the day because that was truly a stretch.
What was her name? I can't think of the lady who played Endora.
I don't remember.
Come on.
No.
Okay, don't make me look.
Look it up. You're going to have to look it up.
No, I feel like I'm showing off then because, John thought of it like Alex Trebek with
well, you're good at looking it up. And right now
answers.
You're good at looking it up. I'm sitting on the end of my bed right now, so it's kind of tough. I don't really have access. I could grab my phone. But,
I could have done without knowing that you're sitting on your bed while we're doing this.
Well, it's not my bed. It's the hotel room bed. There's not much room in here.
Isn't there a desk in this room?
Not in the room I'm in.
Where are you staying? At the Knight's Inn?
No, I wanted good recording or a good recording space for my for our listeners for my end of the podcast, and I was upgraded to a 2-bedroom suite in the hotel I'm staying in. So I've got a tiny little bedroom here, and I'm standing in front of the curtain on the edge of the bed. So no, There's no desk in this immediate room. Actually, there's no desk in the whole hotel room. I was actually sitting at the dining room table working.
But you have a dining room table.
But I have a dining room table. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to tell you while we're talking about this, because you know how we like to go off on a tangent.
No, we don't go off on tangents. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Rapid City, Iowa. Went there with some friends, took the Harleys, and stayed at this Marriott. And I want to say, I think it was Rapid City. And so we get to this Marriott. They upgraded us to these nicer rooms, they said, downstairs. And we walked in, and there is a 12-foot conference table, complete with these comfy chairs, probably 6 of them or 8, around this conference table. And in the other room, we have, the regular bedroom and bathroom and all of that. Why would they think a conference table with a couple is an upgrade?
Yeah. I have been not happily surprised at some of the upgrades that I've received. Because, most of the travel I do is in rural Kentucky. So when I get upgraded, I'm like, I'm getting upgraded to a room. And then you walk into the room and go, how is this an upgrade? Yeah, there might be a little bit more space, but that's about it.
So an upgrade is what? Like an extra towel or?
No, I had an upgrade once, and it was literally 2 rooms that was made into a 1-bedroom suite. But everything was still left from the original room except for the beds. So they put a couch in there and a TV, a desk, and then there's this wide open space with a kind of a back bar, and it had a microwave. And that was it. Yeah. It's like, this is... Then when you walk through the door, you know how they have those doors that you can, if you have a conjoining room? Yeah. You walk through the door, you could tell it used to be one of those doors because it had the 2 sides to it, but one of the doors was taken off.
Boy, they went all out with that.
They went all out.
So, have you ever been upgraded to a room with a Murphy bed?
I have not.
So I did that, and I was actually doing a training session, and they they put me in, again, a room with a conference table and a Murphy bed. So I had to keep the room clean enough when I was in it, because that's where all the trainees would come in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I fold up the Murphy bed. And, there was actually, I think, a powder room, so I could shut off my bathroom. But it was so weird because I'm sort of tucking everything in along the Murphy bed, knowing full well there are going to be 10 people in this room about half an hour after I'm done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Murphy bed.
Now, I had a room that was so small once. It was at the Churchill Hotel in Washington, D.C. It was right across the road from the Hinckley Hilton, which most people, I think, would recognize. It was the
same ones that know Medora. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's the Hilton where Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley.
Hinckley, yeah.
Yeah, so they call it the Hinckley Hilton. That hotel, by the way, does not like being referred to as the Hinckley Hilton. I was
going to say, I bet they don't.
They don't at all. Anyway, across the street is the Churchill. Beautiful, grand, old hotel. And I was staying there, and they gave me this room, and I was excited because I love history. I love really good architecture.
Yes, you do.
And I walked up to my room, and the door was old and beautiful and ornate. And I opened the door, and there's my bed.
Like
literally,
right there.
The door hit the bed as I was going in. No chairs, no couches. There was a bureau, because it was too small to have a closet, so it had a bureau, and you had to scoot. The bureau was against not the opposite wall, but kind of the quarter wall as you walk around the bed. So at the foot of the bed, you had to walk sideways between the foot of the bed and the bureau to get to the bathroom. The bathroom was nice, but yeah.
Did you nice and big? Did you sleep in the bathroom?
No. I mean, the bed was extremely comfortable, and it was a king size bed. I think that was their first mistake, putting a king size bed in a room that small. Queen. Exactly. Yeah. But it was still a beautiful hotel room. It was just tiny. And then, of course, the TV was not a small TV. It wasn't a huge one, but it wasn't small. So it was right there in your face. If it was one of those curved TVs, it could probably have been 3D.
So it
or
was
virtual reality.
A 20-inch TV, but it seemed massive because you were so close to it.
Right, exactly.
It's like wearing VR glasses. That's awesome. Yeah, you get some interesting ones, and it's all fine. And I've told our listeners before, and you, that I often stay now at Town Place Suites, and because I like the kitchen.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm staying right now. Is a Town Place Suites.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and that's where I got upgraded. Nice.
So am I. Yes, and I'm staring at the kitchen right now, and I just before we started today, I was just at Safeway. Nice. So I went in and grabbed some healthier groceries than I might normally get.
Well, that's smart. That's good for you, because I ordered from Grubhub. They're not a sponsor, but I love Grubhub, especially when I'm traveling.
Yep.
And I ate it really fast while I was working because, I'm a workaholic. And then I came in and we're doing the podcast. And you know what I'm doing after the podcast? I'm going back to work.
Oh, I thought you were going to have dessert.
Well, I might, but I'll probably order that from Grubhub too.
Haagen-Dazs.
Have it come to. I'm kidding.
Haagen-Dazs.
No, I'm not going to do that. Haagen-Dazs. They don't have Haagen-Dazs downstairs. They have what? I think it's 3-2-1, something like that. Does. It's supposed to be a good ice cream.
I think Grubhub does.
But I'm sure. Actually, the place I ordered from had they had fried Oreos as a dessert.
Oh, did they really?
They did. I was so excited, but I'm on a diet, John, and that just doesn't work on my diet.
I don't think that works on any diet.
No, that's why they call it a diet.
I know. What diet would they say? And you can have as many fried Oreos as you like.
The best diet ever.
Yeah, the diet that would not ever be a diet.
Where's your sense of adventure?
We could market that.
We could.
And just get a bunch of people to pay lots of money to try it.
What's that restaurant?
If it doesn't work, we'd blame it on them.
What's that restaurant? I think I know there's one in Las Vegas. I think there's one in Phoenix. The Heart Attack or something like that. Not the Heart Attack Hotel.
Oh, sounds like a restaurant I'd like to visit.
Well, they have all of the waitresses and waiters, I guess. I think it's mostly waitresses. I think it's a Hooter-esque type place. Are dressed in nurses' outfits.
Shut up.
You've never heard of that?
Research. I don't think I have.
It's now we got to look it up.
It's called the Heart Attack?
Heart Attack something, I think. Heart Attack Grill or something like that.
Cafe or grill?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Restaurants that have nurses as waitresses.
Oh, boy, that's going to be quite a list, I bet.
No, it's probably only going to come up with one.
It's going to list all the hospital cafeterias.
The Heart Attack Grill. It's called the Heart Attack Grill.
Is there one here?
Oh, no, this was an NBC.
You're searching.
Well, hold on.
All right, I can put my glasses on.
The Heart Attack Grill.
Want me to search too. I actually want to do the search because I want to hear Google repeat it back. The Heart Attack Grill.
There's only one, downtown Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
The website's horrible. I've got to actually close it because it's making my digital marketing spidey senses go tingly.
Oh, then
in a bad way, out of there. Not in a good way.
Yeah, get out of there. Yeah, because that's a whole different website that does that.
Yeah, exactly. No, those are the websites that do it right because that's where we get all of our information from.
Yes, but they are wearing nurses' uniforms.
Well, not for long.
Wow. Because they get fired.
That's right. Yes, that's exactly it, John. Uh-huh.
That I did not know about that restaurant.
Really? See, I thought that would be right up your alley. All of the food there is so fattening and has so many calories that's
right up your aorta. Yeah,
right up your aorta. Let's see, how many burgers does it take for your aorta to explode?
Wow. There are several places like that, and like diners that serve, the heart attack burger or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently some dude keeled over.
Oh, really?
Well, and had a grabber at that restaurant when he was eating.
If I remember
our thick grill.
If I remember some of the news stories, you actually, when you go into this place, have to sign a waiver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I could have that completely wrong. I get a lot of this stuff, secondhand.
But I love how you mix stuff up and make it seem like.
Well, John, I learned from the best. 97% of all statistics are made up on the spot. 97% of all the facts that I give are made up on the spot.
But I love that.
But you can also tell that I know a lot of lawyers because I'm always CYAing whenever I say that. I'm not sure if this is correct. So you do your own research. But this is what I've heard.
Let's assume everything we're about to say is absolutely wrong and made up.
All things being equal, it makes for good entertainment. But if that's not the case, please check with your lawyer.
That's why I think the fried Oreo diet might work.
Oh, I know it would work for some people. We could make millions off of it.
That's what
I'm saying. Just not for the right reasons.
Oh, well, now we get self-righteous.
I've always been self-righteous.
You've been like the self-righteous brothers. That's different.
I don't know what that means. The righteous brothers?
The righteous brothers.
I got the joke. It wasn't funny.
Can we just assume everything I say is going to be hilarious?
It always is. I'm laughing on the inside.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be uproarious external laughter.
You're not here to entertain me. You're here to entertain the masses. All 15 listeners.
But what usually happens is when I entertain you, they laugh just awkward, discomfort laughs, I think, because
very awkward, discomforting laughs. Yeah.
Well,
just wait until we start doing live shows.
Because these are recorded.
These are recorded. I don't know.
And I think it's important. It's important to note that because, no one has any idea how many times you have to erase and go back over. We're 18 and a half minutes in right now. And
yeah, we have at least 17 and a half minutes of good content.
I was going to say more like 3 minutes, but whatever.
Oh, no, I'm a little bit more optimistic, John.
No, your standards just aren't as high. That's all.
No.
Yeah, that's fine. That was a stupid joke, but we'll keep it in.
When I edit, I usually just cut out a lot of you and keep a lot of me. That's.
I know. They go, Nick and who?
Actually, it's completely the opposite. I cut out more of me than I cut out of you. But it's usually the pops, the ticks, the breathing. Because I guess I start to breathe heavy on the microphone.
I never noticed. But when you say ticks, you mean like the nervous ticks that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's fine. As long as we're clear on what those are. Now you sound like you're doing an African language.
Well, that's what we do sometimes. That's exactly what I edit out.
Remember the podcast we did that was all in African language sounds?
Yeah, it was a big hit in China.
Well, in Uganda. Yes, or Uganda.
That reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. I'm sure some of our friends have heard me say it before.
Keep bringing.
When someone says something like, I'm just a small fish in a big pond, or makes some reference to how they're maybe a little insignificant or just average or anything like that. And I just look at them and say, yeah, but you're huge in China.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Except it's
really, well, yeah. It's a joke that started with height, but I think another one of my friends who used to use it all the time used it for everything. It's kind of like, that's what she said, but you're huge in China.
That's what she said.
That's what
you can actually combine them.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh, now I've got something else to add to my arsenal.
Oh my gosh, that is I seem
what
to be
are you what are you clicking on over there? All I hear is click, 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 tap, tap, tap. Are you typing on a really old keyboard?
I am. I have an old Royal keypad or typewriter. That's what they call it. Yeah, an old Royal.
Are you writing your memoirs?
I am, and surprisingly, most of them have to do with PoddiMouths.
That's the only thing that's truly memorable. Not your kids, not your wedding, nothing. Not even cancer.
Well, because what happens is I have a short memory, so my memoirs have to be very recent.
I see. I thought you were going to say because PoddiMouths.
Well, yeah, that was going to be the next thing I said.
Right. Yeah. Right. See, like this whole section, I'm definitely cutting out.
You are not. This is hilarious to some people.
to us.
China. In China.
That's what she said.
Yeah. See how it works together? Oh, my gosh. So to answer your question, I was setting down my glasses because I almost had to do a search. Fortunately, I was able to not do that.
Well, that's good.
And I was also clicking. I'm going to take a picture of this, and we're going to have to put it up on the website because it's a back scratcher.
A vacuum scratcher?
A back.
Oh,
B-A-C-K.
I heard back scratcher. I heard a V.
Oh, it's a vac
It's a vac scratcher. What's a vac scratcher?
Well, actually, you put it in the bag of the vacuum cleaner, and you scratch like I said back.
Yeah, you said back. Yeah, we're going the wrong direction here. I know we're PoddiMouths, but OM goodness.
No, I have an itchy back. And so I actually travel with this.
That was something else that I forgot to mention on our travel episode. There's one other thing I do carry. I haven't used it in a while, but I am actually planning on using it today. Have you ever used one of those portable?
See, don't leave us hanging here, because right now people are thinking 20 different things. I used it today, and have you ever seen one of those portable? And then stop.
I didn't stop.
Well, I know I stopped you.
Oh,
then it's great because you have no idea where you're going with it. But I have 20 different things I could plug in under.
Well, portable. I could say something like that and then just end the podcast.
Then click. That would make every one of our listeners probably delighted and say, well, that one was a lot better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But anyway, I have a portable electric. This is going to sound very bad. Electric massager, but it has the little pads, that you stick on your back, and the electrodes that connect to it, and it shocks you.
That is, I think isn't that an electrocardiogram?
It's similar, but you put it on your back instead of your front. The electrodes look the same. They really do.
You get terrible measurements from
really do.
Your back,
I thought the electric current was supposed to flow the other way, but it makes for a great back massager.
It doesn't. It has like stickers and stuff.
Yeah, the little rubber stickers that you put on your back, and it connects there's 4 of them, and you could do 2 or 4, and you stick the electrodes into the back of these little rubber stickers, and you stick them on different muscle points in your back, and it completes
I've got just a couple of things here. Yeah. Can you reach your back?
Not really.
Like all the spots that
I need it on. Yeah, because I usually put one.
But
just
maybe you're missing a spot.
No.
Maybe you're missing a spot where it'd be amazing.
That's true, and that's when you need help. I don't have help, so when I go home, I'll let my wife help me with that.
If you went to the front desk and asked them, though.
No, I don't trust this front desk.
Why not?
Have you met my front desk people?
No, but they are probably nice. Oh, okay. Well, describe them. Tell me what.
No, it's a very lovely lady that's at the front. She's on her second week working at the hotel, and She doesn't really know how anything works. And
we have to ask a little more. Does she have piercings?
I didn't look that close, John. She has a tattoo under her ear.
Under her ear?
Yeah, under her earlobe.
Can you tell what it's a tattoo of?
Nope.
Go down there.
No.
Go down.
No.
No,
With the microphone?
Do this live. Yes. Take the mic down, and this could be the start of something big.
It could be. But I am tethered right now. It wouldn't be just the mic. It would be pretty much every cable that's wrapped around me at the moment. And I'm not even considering the electrodes that I'm attached to.
The electrodes. Are you currently attached to the electrodes?
No, I'm not. I said that for dramatic effect.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's pretend you cut that part out so that we can pretend that you have the electrodes on. So do you have the electrodes on right now?
No, I just told. No,
no, you're supposed to. Come on.
I know what I'm supposed to do, but that's what she said.
I'm enjoying this way more than our listeners are. I want you to know that.
Well, I think that's pretty much par for the course anyway.
Yeah, it actually is. I am a good audience.
You're a good audience for yourself.
Well, I laugh at your jokes too sometimes.
Sometimes. Rarely, but
mostly mine. Though.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the things that come out of my mouth just sound like jokes, but I'm absolutely serious.
But I'm okay with that. I don't, as long as it ends up as a joke, I don't really care what it was intended to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, pretty much.
For both of us.
I mean, if you just look at me, you've got the joke. Anyway.
You are a very handsome lad. Don't let anyone say different.
A very handsome bad? What?
Lad.
Oh,
L-A-D.
Lad. Oh.
Yeah. Especially in China.
That's what she said. Okay, I think we're killing that. When I mean in a good way, we're killing it.
I'm sick to death of that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what she said. And oddly enough, we say that's what she said, and I'm watching The Office out of the corner of my eye. It's muted.
It's muted.
So I'm not.
Which Office?
I'm not listening. Not the U.S. one.
The U.S. one.
Yeah.
I have never seen the British one, but I hear it's freaking hilarious. And two of the people that made that show in England are the ones that came over to the U.S. to help write the U.S. version.
They are truly brilliant, and the characters are funny because they're sort of like the U.S. Office, which is the one I became familiar with first, but they're not too much like them. You can see like Dwight's character is he's just different and kind of goofy. But you can see where the similarities are and where they differentiate.
Right.
But
well, that character is the one in the UK one of the two guys that came over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's one of the writers.
Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Yep. And then the tall one, the really tall, lanky one on the UK version, he's also recently in a movie with The Rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the other one.
Can I? And I know that I never sidetrack. But I'm fixing to. I saw a movie on the plane today.
Was it good?
It was actually on my phone. And I'll get to the good part.
Okay.
It was on my phone because I was sitting.
You promised there is a good part.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
good.
There's a part that I think is good.
Okay. All right.
I'm at the bulkhead right by a bathroom. And still some guy potty dusted next to me.
Oh,
no. We're 3 feet from the bathroom.
Just hold it.
Well, don't just go in there and do it.
That's what I mean. Care. Hold it. So you go in there to get into the bathroom.
It was terrible. Anyway, so I watched this movie because by the bulkhead, I would have had to flip up the video player. And I'm not sure it was offered on the airline anyway. So it's The Upside.
The Upside with
Kevin Hart and the guy from
Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes, what's his name?
Krasinski. No.
No, that's John Krasinski.
It starts with a K. He was also in Breaking Bad.
Yes, that's where I knew Walter in Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
If
you wouldn't have asked me, I would have been able to get the name right away.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Bryan Krantz.
Bryan Cranston.
Cranston. There you go.
He was amazing.
Oh, he's amazing in everything. He is a very talented actor. And Kevin Hart is no slouch either.
Kevin Hart was amazing with him. And I've talked about this before. In fact, we have talked about this before, where the Central Intelligence, when Kevin Hart's with The Rock.
Right.
I love Kevin Hart as an actor. And some people might say it's, a one-dimensional thing because he kind of came from the streets and he has a son he doesn't see enough and he's behind in child support and blah, 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 blah. But when he gets into his character, I'm telling you, it was not only was it touching, it was hilariously funny in several spots. And I just cannot recommend the movie enough. The Upside.
I'll have to see it. I've
watched it. I spent $14.
Holy moly! Did you buy it?
I did because I wanted. I spent $14 because
if you're on an airplane, I wouldn't be surprised. They charge just obscene amounts.
I get them free on Delta.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But it wasn't one of those. It was on my phone because I really wanted to watch it. And I am so happy I did. It was an excellent movie. I'm not very happy with Hollywood sometimes, but this was a really good effort.
I will take your recommendation and purchase that as well. I love movies. Movies are great.
You can maybe meet me someplace and we can watch.
We're going to meet next week and do the PoddiMouth podcast together. The first time ever, people. You'll hear this one. It'll actually be the week that this one goes live. John and I will be together recording.
But you know what's going to be weird?
Us?
That's what she said. Yes, us for sure. But I'm going to, because you know how we interact when we're face to face.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing faces at you. We're not going to be able to look at each other.
No, we're going to have to be back to back.
We're going to have to sit back to back. You're absolutely right. And then I might do like a reverse headbutt from time to time.
You said some of your hair's coming back, though.
All of my hair. I had to get a haircut today.
Did you really? Congratulations.
I did. This is my third one, so don't. It's okay. But
I'm going to cut that part out because, I wanted to sound supportive, and you just completely ruined that.
Okay, let's try it again.
No, I don't know. I'll just cut it out. The magic of editing.
Well, yeah, but I could say the first part again.
You could.
I actually had to get a haircut today. And you say? I probably shouldn't say and you say.
And you say, no, I don't think that works. Anyway, have you seen the new Jumanji? And I say that because there's, the one with Robin Williams, then there's the new one, and then there's another one coming out very soon. So when I mean I mean they're making a sequel.
One?
Because this one the one with The Rock and with Kevin Hart was so popular.
Wouldn't that be called Two-Manji then?
Well, it would be Three-Manji, I guess.
Or Three-Manji.
Or Tri-Manji. Tri-Manji. That's our next podcast, Tri-Manji.
No.
You don't like Tri-Manji?
Look, if it gets us a whole bunch of people going to Patreon and supporting us so we can quit our job and not our collective job.
Wow, you must be bored because we're only 30 minutes into this podcast and you're already wrapping everything up by telling people to go to Patreon and supporting us.
I just want people to know that if you have an extra, 5-10 million lying around, it would probably take that much for us to retire.
Oh, you're only asking for 5 or 10 million? I was shooting for 30. I don't know where you're getting this 5 or 10 million crap. It's 5 or 10 million a piece. Well, it was more like 10 million to you, 20 million to me, because I have a lot longer to make it stretch.
Well, that's true because you're much younger,
younger and more attractive.
You are very hot. If I were gay, I would be all over you.
Yeah, but you ride a bike. Chicks dig bikes.
Well, they don't dig dudes on bikes, heavyweight dudes on bikes. They just like the bike.
Yeah, but you're not a bad-looking dude, so, don't give me that crap.
You're delightful. That's only in China, though.
In China. Talk about a big dude on a bike.
That's true. They don't allow big bikes like that. Well, they probably do in China.
They do. There are some Chinese millionaires that drive around on Harleys.
But in Europe, not so much. Have you noticed that?
No, because I've never been to Europe.
What?
I just revealed a secret about me, everyone. I've never been to Europe.
We need to.
I need to change that. I know it's a lot of things have happened. It's not for lack of trying. And I have excuse after excuse after excuse. And
when
I've told you this.
You tried. Did you mean like you went to the airport and you were rebuffed?
In one case, it was very close to that. It was my mom had planned a trip with my stepfather and myself to go to the Netherlands, where she was born in the Netherlands. So I still have family over there.
Yep.
And we were going to go visit family. And that was in September of 2001.
But?
September of 2001.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Got it. I think, wow, that was a long time ago. I know what else happened in September.
Yeah.
Shucks.
So that was.
So it really was close.
That was pretty close. But other times it was, we were planning on it, and then we were going to visit a certain person over there, like an aunt or an uncle or something, and they died.
Oh, no. Oh, come on. I knew that was going to be the end of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So I should say I've only tried 2 or 3 times. So it hasn't been like I've done it 15 times and 15 different things happened. No, it was only 2 or 3 times that I tried.
So is it the Netherlands that you would, I mean, if you, let's say you had a week where you could spend it in Europe, and I don't know about you, but I would not want to go and just beat myself up trying to see as many things as possible.
No, if I only had a week,
fair question. Yes.
Well, yeah. If I only had a week, yes, I would go to the Netherlands to visit my family if that was the first time I was going. But if I had,
stay there the whole week,
I would stay there the whole week because they're scattered. I've got some in the north, some in the south. So and they're dying out. So there are a few of them now, but they're still there. But if I had been there and have visited those family members, and then you gave me a week, I would probably I want to go to the UK, and I would go to London, and then I would go to York, and then I'd go to Scotland, and then probably go over to Ireland if I had time. And then also my stepfather's family descended from Manxmen, so the Isle of Man. I'd like to make it over to the Isle of Man as well, just to see that. Then if you gave me another week, I would probably head to France and Italy. France and or Italy. So I'm giving you in order where I would go.
How many weeks would it take to get you to Switzerland? That's what I'm asking.
That would probably be very close afterwards, after France and or Italy.
Okay. Because having been to Switzerland, I must say that it is perhaps the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
Really?
And I love mountains, and I've seen some beautiful. I've been to Banff, and I love Banff and Lake Louise, and oh my gosh, it's spectacular.
Yeah, beautiful country.
But Zermatt, Switzerland, where the Matterhorn is, oh my goodness, it is simply breathtaking.
I have to say, one of my biggest regrets, I don't believe in regrets necessarily, but there are a couple of things that are the closest things that I could say I would have regret from. My undergraduate degree was from Webster University, and the campus that I was on is the main campus in St. Louis, and it is a very small campus. There are only 450, I think, full-time students.
Oh my goodness!
Either on the campus or the ones in the dorm room. So it's a very small school in that sense, but it is a massive school with I think 100,000 students globally. They have a lot of campuses on military bases and in various places all over the country for undergraduate, for graduate students and things like that.
My goodness!
But one thing that they do have are campuses in other countries as well. They have one in Switzerland. They have one in the Netherlands. They have one in the UK. They have one in Thailand. And I think there are a couple more elsewhere in other places. And you could sign up for it. It only cost you the plane ticket to get there. Otherwise, all the costs were pretty much the same as if you were on the home campus. But you could spend a semester or two in one of the other countries. And you could actually go to all of them if you wanted to and take classes. My excuse, though, was none of the classes that were offered at those places matched my degree. So that was my excuse why I never took advantage of it. But I should have taken advantage of it. I had a lot of friends that did, and they still rave about their experiences.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I'm with you. I'm not a big guy for regrets. There are many things that I could have and perhaps should have done differently. But, I think the time people waste regretting things, they could actually be doing new things.
Exactly. It's just an opportunity to learn something new about yourself and or about other things.
For sure. Well, that
I learned that I'm a lazy ass.
You are not.
In that regard, I'm a cheapskate and a lazy ass. I couldn't get my ass off the couch from St. Louis to go across.
Things were different then. How old were you?
I was at 19, 20.
College age, sure. Okay, so when I went to Europe, I went with my mother. So my father passed away when I was 15 years old. My grandmother moved in with us and helped with my younger brothers while my mom was working. Long story short, mother decided she wanted to go to Europe, and she didn't want to go alone. So she invited me to go with her.
Nice.
And I was 19 years old. And really at 19, the last thing you want to do is go with your mother anywhere. Maybe me. That's true. It's probably younger for a lot of kids, but
I was calling myself a mama's boy. I don't know if you got that.
Oh no, we call you that behind your back on these podcasts all the time.
You don't need to, because I know I am, or I was. She's dead.
Well, yeah, but that's not funny.
I think it's freaking hilarious.
It's
better than she's pushing up worms. No, she's not pushing up worms. What is it? Pushing up daisies, feeding on worms. Worms are feeding on her. I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
I'll cut this out, John. Don't worry.
You're naughty. You're potty mouth.
Well, no, so if my mom were here and she was saying that about me or someone else, she'd be saying the exact same things. I'm only saying it because that was my mom's personality.
Well, then you're kind of doing a nice tribute.
Anyone that listens to this that knew my mom would be laughing right now. Everyone else is gasping in horror, but
with me along with me.
Right.
So I will finish mine. I did go with my mother. She talked me into it or whatever, and we had a wonderful time. And I love my mom. Mom is 90 years old, and she is amazing. But that was really a time for us to kind of connect, and we did, and we had a really nice time. And but for 3 weeks, and we did Germany and Switzerland and Norway and Denmark.
That's awesome.
And we just blessed.
I think that's the way to do it, is to do like 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, I don't know as you and I could necessarily afford 3 weeks.
Oh, absolutely not.
At any given time, but you're right. It was a blessing to be able to do it for sure.
But see, that's when you want to do it when you're young, because when I was 19, 20 years old, I didn't care where I slept. I could have gone to a hostel and been perfectly okay. Now, at this age... Are
you spelling that Hostile?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry.
No, John. I even got that. And you spelled something to me, and I even caught that. Anyway,
I'm sorry. I could slow down.
I could have stayed in one of those, no problem, and been fine. Now, in my 40s, there's no way I'm going to any room that doesn't have a bathroom in the room. Not in the room, but connected to the room.
If you go to a hostel, you're like a creeper instantly.
Absolutely. I'd be going to a hostel with my wife and my 8-year-old daughter. They'd really think that was odd.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. It is Europe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, that's true. And it is different in Europe. That's absolutely true.
I would like to go to Poland too. That's where my dad's side of the family came from. So that's on my list as well. Even though I do not know of any family members there. I'm sure they exist.
I that whole Eastern bloc of countries, I agree with you. I would love to go to Prague. I understand it's spectacular.
Yeah, I actually have
Budapest.
Buda or Pest.
Pest.
One of my daughter's classmates, I don't know if it's in her actual class or if she's a year younger, but she was also in Girl Scouts with her. Her parents are from Slovakia.
Oh, okay.
or are they from the Czech Republic? No, they're from Slovakia. And they go back every summer. They've been here for 20 years, but they go back to visit every summer. They were planning their daughter wanted to take a dance class for that was the other. My wife is also doing a separate dance camp at the camp this summer. So she has that going on.
So horse camp,
dance camp,
Yep.
Volleyball camp, cheerleading camp, art camp, STEM camp.
You said cheerleading camp a couple of times.
Cheerleading camp.
I think you're.
Well, you said horse camp a lot more than I said cheerleading camp. So,
that's an
what does that tell me about
because
you?
Horse camp is safer.
Is it?
Well,
is it really?
I don't know. Would you ever ask to be a judge at horse camp?
Well, that's a whole other story. I have a first place ribbon from when I was riding horses. Anyway, so everyone knows that I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago now when this airs.
Yes.
And
right.
My wife's uncle is a physician, or was a physician. He's retired now. And we were talking about Peyton riding horses because she is now very much into it, and she takes horse riding lessons. And
Peyton's your daughter, so everyone knows.
Yeah, Peyton's my daughter. And so he was saying, out of all the sports injuries that I see, we see a lot of rotator cuffs and this and that and all these broken things, and it's very much controlled. Once you stop doing the sport, it's you stop getting injured, and a lot of it can be repaired, but it's also under your control, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm probably completely messing up his point of it, but he said riding horses is the only thing that he's ever seen where there's not a ton of physicality, but the largest amount of injuries to people of every age.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, because the horse is, I think that's his point. With every sport, there's a goal in mind, and it can be as intense or as passive as you want it to be based on how you're playing, so you can kind of control that. But with a horse, you're dealing with a 1,500-pound animal who has its own personality that 1 minute can be happy and the next minute can be as cranky as an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm. I have a close friend who was terribly injured, and he was, and I don't know I'm showing my ignorance, but it's with the cart.
Oh, yeah.
Follows the horse. I can't think what it's called, but
I don't remember either.
I know. Anyway, he was on his property with a horse that he's owned for years and ridden for years, and somehow got out of control. And it was touch and go for the first month or two, and he still suffers the ill effects from it. But it's just a really scary thing because, as you said, you can't. I ride a 950-pound steel horse, if you will.
Yeah.
But I know what it's going to do at almost every turn.
Right.
Every time you ride it. But when there's that question, it's an interesting point because that I think is what makes a lot of the injuries happen. Yeah. And sometimes, obviously, it's operator error too. But
sure,
you would know way more about that.
I know every time I got bucked off my horse when I was growing up, it was my fault. It was never the horse's fault.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So why? What would you do?
I might have. We had an indoor riding arena. This is the one I remember. Indoor riding arena, and I was riding the numbers. So I was, trotting to this, and then crossing and trotting to that, and I went into the wall, but I didn't stop the horse soon enough. So it was getting too close to the wall and got nervous and bucked me off. So,
yep. So, but you knew, or whomever was teaching you knew that was something you should have done differently.
Exactly. It was my father behind me laughing his ass off.
The cowboy.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't a cowboy then. It was he was big into dressage when I was growing up. He actually got to a level he competed and got to a level where he was almost made it the Olympic team in the late 80s. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's very impressive.
He probably would have made it if he didn't want to be a cowboy so bad.
but I bet he would get injured much less as a cowboy than if he were in the Olympics.
I think you get injured. Well, I don't know. He didn't jump. He was straight up dressage showing horses, not jumping. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he.
Well, Lipizzan or stallions, they jump, so that could be scary.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Depending what he's showing.
Right.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's okay.
Neither do I. Many things my dad tried to introduce me to that he is amazing at that I just kind of said, oh, that's kind of cool. All right. Yeah. I'm going to go over here and play in the dirt. I'm going to go play with this Jeep. I remember this Jeep. It was my first introduction to Jeeps. And most people that know me know I absolutely love Jeep Wranglers. It was
anyone who listens to these podcasts knows that you are
and I'm going to keep introducing it like that every single time I bring it up too. But my first introduction to Jeeps was a toy, and it was about the size of a 15-inch laptop in length and kind of tall, probably a foot tall, I guess. But it was a replica of a brown CJ7. And I want to say it was a Renegade, but maybe not a Renegade. Renegades had the funky flares on the side back then. But
may I speak for all of our listeners?
And they say you don't care.
If you don't define whether it's a Renegade or not.
I'll find a picture of it and post it. But it was absolutely my favorite toy in the entire world. And my dad had a porch on the house that there was enough space where I could stand up. He couldn't. But when I was younger, I could stand up, and all the dogs would go under there and dig holes in the dirt. So I would be riding this Jeep through all of the dips and the holes and the all the paths under this. And that's where I was. If I wasn't playing with the cats in the barn, I was under the porch playing with my Jeep. I remember that vividly.
That is very cool.
Yeah. When my dad was saying, why aren't you helping me, muck the barn, muck the stalls? Or do you want to ride this horse? Or do you want to...
Because my Jeep does not poop.
Right. Or do you want to practice karate? Nope. My Jeep is going through the snowbank right now.
That should be your next book.
What, Jeep is going through the snowbank?
No, Jeeps don't poop.
That's actually a really good title.
I know.
We'll have to. That'll be the PoddiMouths memoir. Will be just like My Favorite Murder, the podcast.
Yes.
They just finished a memoir. The two of them together. I think it's My Favorite Murder or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
But it's not as intelligent sounding as Jeeps Don't Poop.
Well, I'm sure the content is much more exciting and memorable than what ours would be, but it's still. Okay, guys, we're going to write a memoir in 10 years, actually maybe 20, by the time we actually get to sit down and do it. And we're going to call it Jeeps Don't Poop, or Poops Don't Jeep.
No, Jeeps Don't Poop, because I think it explains your passion about Jeeps.
Yeah? Would you really call it a passion? Because I know people that know a heck of a lot more about Jeeps than I do. I
don't think it has to do with knowledge. I think it has to do with passion.
Okay. Well, what's the difference between knowledge and passion? Let's unpack that, John.
Oh, cut it out. You know the difference.
Well, I want to know what you think the difference is.
No, you don't. Passion is something I think that is a God-given thing it's like one of your giftings, as we call it sometimes, where it's something that you really love to do. And one of the side effects of that sometimes is learning as much as you can. Stop it. Learning as much as you possibly can about it. But that's not always the side effect. Sometimes it's just the sheer enjoyment of doing it. And that's you with Jeeps.
Okay, then. I'll accept that.
So, you will accept it, Alex.
I'll lock it up and put it in my pocket and care for it with all the love.
Whatever.
Yeah. Something like that.
That's what she said.
I don't want to Jeep in China.
Because, I know. I would drive a Jeep in China. I think it would be cool. China's huge. Think of the topography.
Hold on. You just completely dropped off.
All right. When Nick is silent, here's what it means, just in case you're paying attention at home.
Is when you completely dropped off.
Typically, it means he's not interested anymore, but it also sometimes means that he's lost some sort of connectivity.
I didn't lose connectivity. You lost connectivity. You disappeared.
I can't imagine you would have lost interest in content as enthralling as that. This is truly killing me.
Are you still there?
Because either he's talking on the other end and he's going, John can't hear me now.
Can you hear me?
We're probably just recording him and not me. But just in case he's completely in his hotel, maybe lost internet connectivity, here's what I will say. I have really enjoyed being here with you all today. We're at like 56 minutes. So once he starts cutting things out, we'll probably be at about 20 minutes. But aside from that, I've really enjoyed hanging with you today. I know Nick did too before he left us without any sort of a warning or anything. I don't know about you, but I'm hurt. I'm a little hurt. And now he's texting me. So I'm just going to ignore the text. But I will finish by saying, hey, if you like this, make sure you go to PoddiMouths.com and check out all the other podcasts. This is our 21st one that we're recording, if you can believe it. We're going to do something big when we get around to 25. So stick around. Make sure you don't miss that because, I'm sure it'll make the national news. Also, go to Instagram, at PoddiMouths. Twitter, we're at MouthsPoddy, or you can find us on Patreon. And if you can see your way clear to giving us, I don't know, like 50 cents a month or something like that, if we can get 20 million of you to do that, we are going to be very wealthy. So thank you for logging in. I'm going to go find out what happened to Nick. I'm sure he's probably not injured badly. But thanks for joining us. This is John. And for Nick, see ya.